and I'm tearing up saying this, but I want to make sure that the Steven from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, has what he needs to make it through whatever he's walking through. So I want to be candid with y'all. The reason I wanted to get into content creation. So a few years ago, I was scrolling on Instagram. I was just looking for something relatable, right? Of course, just, kind of wasting my time, really. And I came across a few pieces of content from some people that I can't even remember their names. And they had a few posts that were talking about why everybody should be involved in content creation. And I thought, okay, let me just listen to this, let me just see what they're talking about. And they brought up something that I've consistently said a lot when it comes to just giving information, is that nobody views the world the way that you do, right? And so I stopped and I thought, why do I feel like everybody else has something to say that's worth listening to, but I don't feel that way about myself? And so as I was sitting there, I started like scrunching up my face, started thinking about past experiences and, usually not being one to speak up in a lot of situations that I was in growing up. And it just got me to a place where I like sat back and, rolled my shoulders back and said, what's keeping me from doing this in the first place? And I had so much fear and anxiety and putting my voice out there. And I just didn't know how to go about creating in general for content. Anybody who knows me knows that I used to draw, paint, used to do pastels, I used to sing in high school, I still do at our church, and that's not the type of creating I'm talking about. It's creating something that is worth consuming rather than worth enjoying or observing. So I want to dial it back. I wanted to create something that would help 10 years ago Steven, 20 years ago Steven, have a better time than he did when he was in those situations. Everything from experiences in health, relationships, finances, faith, everything was coming to mind, and it just hit me that I should probably create something that's for those people who are looking for something and can't find it. Because, like I was saying before, everybody has a unique voice. And so what's keeping me from creating something that's uniquely my own, that can help somebody who needs to hear my unique perspective on life. So that was the reason why I started doing content in the first place. It was not really a selfish reason of I just want to be famous. I just want to get information to people that can help them where they are. And I realized that now, fast forward to now, a few weeks ago, when I was, getting back on the horse and trying to get content going again and thinking about what am I going to post? What am I going to put out there? What am I going to create? And my focus was more on how can I make the best piece of content? How can I do the absolute best thing that people haven't seen before? And I lost sight of what was really important, which is to get whatever information is needed by somebody to somebody. So I now know, just based on introspection and sitting in silence, that I need to create things that I feel comfortable handing off to somebody who I feel like needs it the most. Not focusing on viewership, not focusing on, well, can I actually turn this into a business plan, and can I actually, make money that could support financially whatever it is that we have going on in our house. My focus really should be just doing whatever it is that God has me doing right now, and then using my testimony to uplift somebody else. So you've seen a lot of pivots. If you've been following me, you've seen a lot of pivots in what I've been focusing on. And I've come to the conclusion that I think what I'm supposed to do is focus on things that are related to fitness and skin health, while trying to promote a lifestyle that doesn't have limitations because of skin condition. That's been the thing that has been on my heart for a consistent period of time, from walking through severe eczema to dealing with having to use topical steroids for an extended period of time and not being able to do certain things, not being able to go certain places when I was younger, and then having so much freedom after that in high school and in college, and then walking through TSW over the last year and a half. And speaking of that, my skin is so much better. I mean, you guys can see I actually have eyebrows now. So I'm getting to a place where like my skin color is coming back, which is great. But just thinking about how can I uplift somebody who walked through some of the things that I went through. That's really what my focus should be. I shouldn't be focused on how much money I can make or how many people are going to view it, or is this something that I'm proud of. I should only focus on what God has placed me in right now, what He's brought me through, and then using that testimony to help other people. That's the best thing I can do. So that's going to be my focus. I made some pivots, like I said, and I want to make sure that whatever it is that I do is beneficial to not only the people in my vicinity, but also anybody else who views it online. So yeah, from now it's just gonna be me. I'm not doing any Man from Dust stuff right now. It's just gonna be me. The Man from Dust is gonna be something that I'll focus on later on, but it'll most likely be like a podcast where I'm bringing on other men, or may not even necessarily be specifically be men, but just authorities in the space that can help to tackle issues with men that we face. At the end of the day, I think that's really what God has placed on my heart, what He's made to be a passion for me, and I want to make sure that I'm stewarding over that effectively. At the end of the day, that's what's important to me. Not viewership, not if I'm walking on the street and somebody says, "Hey, you're Stephen Daly," I just, hey, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I just want to make sure that, and I'm tearing up saying this, but I want to make sure that the Stephen from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, has what he needs to make it through whatever he's walking through. That's why it's so important for me. That's why I continue to try and put stuff out. That's why I've been trying new things and testing out how can I make something that reaches people. So yeah, I posted a few things on Instagram about skin health and fitness, and then I posted some things about my son Aiden, who he's battling eczema as well, and it looks very similar to when I was an infant. And so walking through that as a father, it's hard to see your son walk through something that you experienced yourself, and then realizing that, okay, genetically I passed it on to him, so having to make sure that I'm not walking in this place of guilt because I didn't choose to hand it off to him. It's something that I had no control over. But I know he'll be in a place where he doesn't have to walk through the same experiences that I did, because I can support him with where he is. And so that's really how it should be, is that I've walked through some things and everybody else is viewing this and walked through some things, and we can all collaborate and give each other uplifting information so that we can just make it through the day sometimes. That's what this is for. So if you're new here, I'm Steven. I dealt with eczema my entire life and went through TSW starting November 2023. I'm at the end stages of it, thankfully. Mostly it's just hyperpigmentation and a bit of flaking, but I went through a lot in TSW. And now I just want to make sure that people don't necessarily have to have the same experiences that I did, with the limitations on what you can do as a child, to everything from what foods you can't eat and having to stay away from certain people in certain areas, to having slighted relationships because people don't know how to approach you as an adult, everything in between. If that sounds like something you're interested in, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, because that's what we're going to be talking about. Just how to navigate spaces as somebody who isn't necessarily perfect. So, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.